Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m., and that's on the Eastern time zone as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. We're going to talk about gardening today. You know, you can find us on television. We're syndicated on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. If you'd like to keep up with us with social media, you can do that as well. D Feazell, and that's facebook.com/D Feazell. Continue sending emails. I treasure each and every one of them. Donna@donnasedge.com. That's Donna@donnasedge.com. I love this variety show because I can do so many different things, but my heart is actually in gardening. And I just wanted to show you something really quick. Look at the beans I'm going to be planting this year. And I tried a new technique, and we're going to talk about this just a little bit later on in this segment. But this technique is where I just put a few seeds in it was a little try thing to see if it worked. And it definitely did work. Now, these are pinto beans, my Aunt Elizabeth beans. I don't know what kind they are, some kind of a butter bean. Lima beans, dragon tongue, you have to try that one out. Dragon tongue is a green bean. And when they're harvested, I like to make, those really, really good green bean salads out of it. And then peanuts. And they are a little bit slow in developing, but they are actually working. So anyway, we're going to talk about this in just a few minutes. But I found an article, and this is all about what gardening hacks and what you can do. But I wanted to also, before we get started, these are also some cantaloupes. Now, you think whatever works for a cantaloupe is actually going to work also for watermelon, but it looks like the watermelons didn't do so well. But the cantaloupes are developing, and they're coming up. I'll be planting those out in the garden within the next couple of days or so. Whether we get rain or not, I don't know. That may judge whether I get to do that or not. But let's go ahead and get started with these gardening hacks. And these, I'm just telling you, can save you a lot of time. The number one hack, by the way, this is found on familyhandyman.com. This is one of my go-to sites. And that's familyhandyman.com. The number one hack, they say, is save space by winter sowing your seeds outdoors. I kind of like getting started early. So I'm kind of with this, but I totally get what he's saying. He says, imagine starting seeds without all the lights, the counter space, and the time needed to grow them indoors, not to mention repotting and retransitioning them gradually outdoors. My husband was tired of having the kitchen bathed in purple light, she says, and with every free surface covered in plant flats of seedlings. So I was thrilled to learn of winter sowing. Its technique is devised by Trudy Dabenhoff, and that's a home seed starter challenge from Space Inside. Bonus is outside makes the seedlings tougher and stronger. The USDA defines it as a propagation method used throughout the winter, where temperate and non-tropical climate seeds are sown into productive vented containers and placed outdoors to foster them a naturally timed high percentage generation of climate tolerant seasons. So let's just talk about how this thing works. I'm interested in this. I'm always ready to try something new. Now, this method is best with seeds that like cold temperatures to germinate, such as cold hardy annuals, perennials that need a chilling period, or a cold stratification. Okay, so I kind of see where they're heading with this. So she says, I grew sweet peas and native baby eyes. And she said she did it this way in 2023. Here's the tip. Even though it originated for cold tolerant seeds, you can use it later for warm temperature lovers, seeds that usually say plant after last frost on the packet, like your zinnias and your tomatoes. Well, I guess I kind of did that this year. Okay, so we moved to South Carolina. And normally speaking, I get started in a greenhouse. And of course, we left the greenhouse when we moved. And so generally speaking, I get started February with seedlings, but it still worked without a greenhouse. And so this is what the author says. After December the 21st, choose clear plastic containers with at least 3 inches of depth. So milk jugs that are cut in half and produce clamshells are also possible. But you can also put plant pots inside a clear plastic storage bin with a lid drilled with ventilation holes, which is kind of what I did right here. And I'm saying kinda. I kind of did that, but I wanted to germinate the seeds with water. It's almost like a hydroponic type system. So, and I'm going to tell you what, I did this last year as well, but I did it in the greenhouse. Well, I didn't do it in the greenhouse this time, and I actually got started later in the season, and I just got to tell you, I think they prospered more doing it this way. Let's go ahead and take one out so you can see what oh my goodness, look at those beautiful roots right there. Okay, so I started this, I put a date on it. So I started this 2 weeks ago. Look, 2 weeks of growth right here. And I got started later in the season. And again, normally I'm biting at the bit. I can't wait for summer to get here. You know how that is. And so I get started in about mid-January, sometimes a little bit, in February. And I got to tell you, this worked. I think it has a stronger system. See that? I think it has a stronger system. Well, you can see with my red top how beautiful these. Oh, I'm going to have some beans. I'm going to have some pintos this year. Normally, the pintos are the hardest ones to start for some reason. And what I like to do with these pintos, now, I will tell you this, I'll be cutting this down some. When I plant this into the ground, I'm going to turn it like this. Now, make sure you got a strong stem. I'm going to plant it kind of sideways, and then I'm going to gently pull this up like this so that I'm going to have a fantastic root system. Who knows how many pinto beans I'm going to get out of this. What I like to do with the pintos, and I do this mainly to conserve space because, when you have a business, you talk about your inventory and how much room you have for inventory. When I do it this way, I dry the beans. They're going to be just like you buy dried pintos, but they're going to be better than anything you'd ever buy. Okay, so I'm going to turn it like this. It's going to give it a good, strong system, and I'll plant it, and I'll kind of tuck these down like that, and then I'll put this into the ground like so. And when the pintos, I'm going to let them dry, and what you'll see, and let's go ahead and place this in water. I don't want anything to happen to it. So as it dries, as it evolves, as the beans dry, then I'll keep them in jars. But now another thing I want to do, you got to be careful how you do this because we have high humidity here. Okay, so what I will do is I will dry them on a clean paper towel, okay, and let it sit on that paper. Even though it looks like it's dry when you take it off of the pods, I'm still going to do that. I'm going to let it dry on paper towels. But this is the whole process, look, and it hasn't molded. Nothing has happened to it. Now, I did use 5 layers of paper towels, and I did saturate it really, really good. Okay, now that's the pinto beans. Let's see. What are these? Okay. Oh, these are my dragon tongues. Okay. And let me tell you about the dragon tongue. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing, the same process. And see, this is already kind of bent for me. Now be careful because you don't want to break that stem. So if it doesn't want to bend, don't make it. Go ahead and plant it straight up. Okay. So I looked at on this one. So I'm going to plant it down to the ground. And what's going to happen is not only are you going to have the beautiful, beautiful roots right here, you're going to have roots that are coming out down here as well. Because see, there's a little nodule. I don't know if you can see that nodule. There's a nodule. It's right there. See if you can see that. Okay, that's going to be another root growing out. And I'm going to love this because what's going to happen, and this is all part of the system of a plant. Okay, first of all, the roots have to be healthy, and these are as healthy as they can be. I'm even seeing little right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. See that root? Isn't that a beautiful root? All started just putting a seed in water. Okay, and so you can see the little hair-like structures that are right there. That's more roots that are developing. Man, I can't wait to get these into the ground. These are dragon tongues, and they're beautiful, beautiful plants. And once those beans come out, they're gorgeous. I mean, they almost look like a leopard skin. I love leopard skin, but it almost looks like a leopard skin. Now, this is what happens. It doesn't look like that when you plant or when you cook it. And let me make sure I've got them soaked in water. So it won't look like that forever. So what's going to happen is when you cook it, it's going to turn green. So it only looks like that while it's on the vine. So once you take it off the vine, you start cooking it, and you start preparing it. Again, the green bean's going to look like a green bean, and it won't have those stripes to it. Now, I was a bit concerned, and right here's a pinto right here that's trying to do its thing. See that? This is what it looks like. I planted this one just a couple of days later. And see, this is the development stage of it. You see the pinto bean, see that part right there? Okay, that's going to be coming off, but I don't make it come off. I let it come off on its own. Let me see what time it is. Okay, because you know what it is. When I start talking to you, I forget I'm on planet Earth. Okay, see how beautiful that looks. Look at the roots that are developing right there on that. Isn't that gorgeous? And again, this right here is now that's a dragon tongue. I told you it was a pinto. It's not. Okay, now I was wondering because, peanuts and beans come from the same family. They're legumes. And so I planted all of the peanuts, and I'm thinking they're not going to happen. They're not going to come up. Look, don't be impatient about stuff like this, because what if I had just thrown these away? I'd be missing out on peanuts growing. So see, it's already developing its little tiny root right there. Okay, and what else have I got? Okay, let's see. This is the Aunt Elizabeth bean right here, and it's like a butter bean. So let me see if I can take it off, because I don't want to hurt the root structure. Ooh, wow! Look at that one. Okay, that's going to be gorgeous too. Again, the key to a good plant is a great root system, just like this right here. Okay, so there's your root, here's your stem, and your leaves are coming out right here. Now, if you have a horrible root system, first of all, the stem is not going to be gorgeous like that. See how beautiful and green that is? And your leaves are going to look all diseased. And look at those, look at there. See, all of that came out of the bean pod right here. Isn't that gorgeous? Those are going to be some awesome Aunt Elizabeth beans. Again, they're a butter bean, so you can kind of tell from that. That's what it looked like. Now, before I put it in the water, this was white. So see, it's turned green, and it's gorgeous. I'll have to take you out into the garden with me when I'm planting these. Oh, they're beautiful. Okay, now these are coming up, and I didn't think they would. These are my limas. And see how the limas, they had a little late start, but look at that root. Isn't it gorgeous? So different beans, different plants come out in different stages. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a closer look. Again, I didn't do this until like 2 weeks ago. And again, it looks as if the watermelon seeds didn't want to do anything. So these are red watermelon seeds, and these are the yellow watermelon seeds. But the cantaloupe, look at the cantaloupe, it's showing out. So let me see if I can take one out without harming. I don't want to harm it. Okay. Oh, it's doing it. Okay. Look how beautiful. Now, it's still got some of the paper towel on it, which is okay. And by the way, when you put paper towels on there, don't get the printed ones. I always use just solid white on these. And look how beautiful that root is. That way, see, it's biodegradable. I have no dyes on it. I was going ahead and put the whole thing down there. It's just gorgeous. So we're going to have some cantaloupes. And also, I wanted to plant plenty of cantaloupe seeds. And you and I are going to try this out. Okay, so I'm not only I'm going to plant these, I'm going to get some cantaloupe seeds, and I'm going to plant them into the ground. And then I will also plant the watermelon seeds. The watermelons have a kind of a terrible stink to them. But anyway, that's what happened out of those. Let's go into a commercial break, and I promise I'll come back with more hacks. I'll be right back in just a minute. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at TwinCityUsedCars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. Or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. You get me all into gardening. I'm just telling you. I lose period of time when I get into gardening. So we're talking about some gardening hacks. Let me go ahead and get to those, okay? Because for all I've been showing you the first part of the show is how I put the seeds in water on paper towel, and in 2 weeks, how it just went boom. I mean, it really bloomed out. Normally, I try earlier, like in the winter months, like around January, February, to plant seeds. I think I'm going to start doing it this way from now on. It just seems like they're healthier. Okay, now you can use what I like to do the see-through, kind of like this right here, because and this is another important thing. When you use this technique, you need to make sure you got a lid that goes on top of it. And so this was just a takeout. I think we'd ordered something, I don't know, salad or something. And I always keep these, and I keep the tops, because this is how I like to germinate seeds using the water technique. It's almost like a hydroponics, almost. But I'll be putting it in the ground. I don't want to keep it in water. Okay, now another idea they give you right here is using a milk container. And I can see how that would work too. So I have a picture of it. You can use cola containers. You can use all kinds of stuff right here. You can see on the website. See how they got a cola container and they kept the lid. See, they've got the lid still on it right there. And they just cut it. They cut that out and then they put their seeds in it. And then what they did is they put the top that they cut off. It works like a greenhouse effect without having the expense of a greenhouse. I don't know if I'm going to get a greenhouse now since I found out this technique. This definitely works. But this is saving winter time, saving room in your house. You don't have seeds all over the kitchen because I've done that as well. So this is how I did it. I put this together and I have kind of a carport area out at the back. And I mean, I didn't even put anything, but now I did this like 2 weeks ago. So we've had some pretty decent weather. And I put this on some shelves and where it's not getting the morning sun, but it is getting some sun in the late afternoon. And that also could be a key in it. Now, I kept the lid on it until the plants got so tall that I was afraid the lid might damage them because that can happen too. So now it's without a lid. And so that's why it looks like this. But what I like about this one is it's see-through and I can see how the seeds are developing when this happens. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to the other hack. I've only got 7 minutes. Okay, hack number 2 right here is spend less on seeds by saving seeds. Yes, this is what I do. Okay, so you saw the dragon tongues and you saw the butter beans and you saw the pintos, you saw those. Okay, I bought seeds once. Okay, and some of these seeds are actually some seeds my grandparents had from like 30 years ago, but they kept them in the freezer. So that's another thing you can do. You can keep your seeds in the freezer, save seeds. So I kept a few seeds from all of the beans right here. You got to let them dry totally out. Use paper towels are your friends. Now, don't use the paper towels that have print. You want white paper towels. Okay, that way I don't have any kind of ink or any reason any of that can get into my plants. So what I do on a clean paper towel, now I do about 4 paper towels, okay, because I want to make sure there is absolutely no moisture going into my seeds. Okay, so I'll leave them out there for several weeks inside, okay, and now I clean the seeds first, okay, and then I put them on the paper towel, let them dry. Now I'm going to change the paper towels out about every other day until they're showing absolutely no moisture whatsoever. And then I go ahead and leave them out at least another month because here's the problem. Okay, if there's any kind of moisture whatsoever on those seeds, they're just not going to do well. They're going to mold and you will get absolutely no growth whatsoever. You won't get this kind of growth. Okay, if there's any kind of moisture whatsoever. I'm going to make sure no moisture. And then what I like to do is keep mine in paper bags. Now you can buy these little paper envelopes and they're made just for seeds. You can get them on Amazon or wherever you want to get them. And so I keep all of my seeds down in these little packets. Again, no moisture whatsoever. I even get another paper towel and put the seeds around that and put that into the little paper bag. And then I don't seal it up necessarily, but I do fold it. And the reason I do that is I don't want any moisture, nothing like that getting inside that, like no ice particles, nothing like that. I put them, again, in another bag, and then I keep them in the freezer. I've got seeds for life. You only have to buy a plant once, and you only have to buy seeds once because you can keep germinating those seeds forever and ever. Okay, so, I mean, you got food for a lifetime. Teach your kids and your grandkids this technique, okay? That's going to save you. That's another hack. Okay, now, this is and you just saw me with this hack right here. And this is where you can use plastic containers, whatever, with a lid on them. And it just kind of does the greenhouse effect without having to have a greenhouse. Okay, let's go on down and let's look at number 3. Okay, that's design garden beds with a rope. I haven't done that, so let's learn this together. Why did I say that? You want to ensure it looks professional, so you probably have the tools you already need in your garage. Here's how it works. A rope or a garden hose can mark your prospective garden beds before you start digging. Makes sense. Okay, play with the curves until you like the proportions you need to mark the shape, and you can sprinkle sand or flour along the edge as a temporary mark. Now, if you have space, generous beds look more appealing, especially people that make their beds too skinny. Now, if a fence backs them up, extend at least one section of the bed out as far as the height of the fence if you can. It'll look more balanced. Now, here's a tip. Check the view from above if you can from a deck or a 2-story window. Yeah, that way you can actually see it, because something does look different in proportion if you check it from a height than from straight ahead. Now, remember the designer rules. Don't make fussy curves that look like a 1980s perm, but keep it simple with a few gradual curves. Also, avoid making a drastic bend without a visual reason, like a tree or a bench that calls for a path to a curve. And I'll show you what it looks like. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, so this is what they're talking about. See if you can see that. So they're making a curve in the garden with a rope. And I think it looks good. I don't know that's what I'm going to do, but anyway, I think that does look nice. Oh, this is a good hack right here. Use stockings to tie up your garden vines. Stockings, if you can find them anymore. Many vines need guidance to grow into an arbor, stakes, or a pergola. But how can you tie them up safely? Because you remember the stems have to be taken care of too. So if you put something like, like rope or something like that, you've got to be so careful that you don't damage the stem. Okay, so and you got to make sure it doesn't cut into that plant. Instead of using zip ties made of single-use plastic that can constrict the growth and be hard to remove, or twine, they use pieces of flexible pantyhose to tie up her runner beans. I think that is a grand idea. I'm going to use that one. Okay, here's how it works. The method is to cut up the pantyhose legs into tubes of the length you need and tie up the vines wherever they need it. So the pantyhose might be fragile for thorny bushes or raspberries, something like that, but they can work well for thinner annual vines. And this is why they do it. The stretchy fabric is easy on plants, and it's easy to remove and reuse for the next season. Now, you would need to wash those, okay, because all of your garden tools, whether you're reusing pantyhose or whatever, those need to be clean. All right, here's number 5. I think I've got time for it. Protect seedlings from cutworms. It's devastating to see tender noodle seedlings mowed down by the night by cutworms. So this is what they're doing. Okay, see that? Okay. So how it works is cutting off the tops and the bottoms of shallow cans. I can see this. Okay, it could be something kind of like tuna fish or cat food cans that are open at both ends. Place the can over the seedling, pressing partly into the soil. You're done. Cutworms living in the surface of the soil don't like to climb. Toilet paper tubes can also work as a protective collar. Now, the reason they like this is once the seedlings are taller, okay, let's see. No, I don't want to see that. Pop-up things coming up. Once the seedlings are taller, they're less vulnerable to cutworm chomping. This protects them and their crucial main stem at the critical period during development. I like that hack. It's a wonderful one. We'll have some more shows about hacks and gardening hacks and how you can have a very successful garden. And like I keep telling you, if I can do it, I know you can. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. You can find us on television, syndicated on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. Thank you.